You will never be rich until you think like this.
You were not born poor. You were born rich, in potential. But somewhere along the way, you were convinced otherwise. They told you that dreaming big was dangerous. That playing it safe was wise. They handed you a rulebook written by people who never broke free themselves, and they called it reality. But let me ask you this, whose reality are you living in? Because the truth is brutal, and it's this.
You will never be rich until you kill the mindset of the mass.
You will never rise until you unlearn the beliefs that keep you average. You will never lead until you stop following the path carved out by the fearful. We don't live in a world of limited opportunities. We live in a world of limited beliefs. And your beliefs, they are the architects of your reality. Henry Ford said it simply. Whether you think you can, or you think you can't, you're right. So tell me, what are you thinking? Not the thoughts you post on social media. Not the ones you tell your friends to sound ambitious. I mean the real ones. The ones that echo in the silence.
The ones that whisper when you fell.
The ones that choke you when you look in the mirror. Those thoughts are your truth. And until you change them, you are chained to them. We are not talking about motivation. This isn't about positive vibes or momentary hype. This is about reprogramming your operating system at the root. Because the thinking that got you where you are will never get you to where you dream to be.
Let's cut deeper.
Rich is not a number in your bank account. It is a state of mind. And until you think rich, you will repel wealth. Because the poor mindset is always negotiating with its limitations. Always preparing for failure. Always expecting loss.
And the rich mindset?
It sees obstacles as puzzles. It sees money as a servant, not a master. It sees time as precious, not expendable. It sees growth as the goal, not comfort. The truth is, your mind has been rented out by fear. Evict it. Fear of judgment.
Fear of rejection.
Fear of starting. Fear of failing.
Fear of success.
Yes, even that. Because some of you are so addicted to your identity as the underdog, you sabotage the very opportunities that could save you. Listen, poverty is not just about money. It's a mindset that creeps into every part of your life. It's how you think about risk. It's how you respond to challenge. It's how you view yourself when no one's watching. It is in the excuses you justify. It is in the moments you choose distraction over creation. It is in the stories you tell yourself about why it's too late, or they were lucky, or some people just have it easier. Stop. You are not a victim of your circumstances. You are a victim of your patterns. Andrew Carnegie came from nothing.
Dirt floor.
No connections.
But he rewired his mind before he ever built his empire. He studied success like a science. And when he handed that mission to a young Napoleon Hill, it wasn't to create a motivational book. It was a blueprint. A roadmap for those who refuse to die average. Let that sink in. There is a science to getting rich. A mindset.
A belief system.
A way of seeing the world and yourself that is completely alien to the average thinker. Because here's what average thinks. Play it safe. Don't risk too much. Make sure you have a backup plan. Just be grateful for what you have. That's fine.
If you want a thin life.
But if you want a life that sets fire to the soul, if you want a life that turns heads, shifts legacies, and echoes beyond your grave, then fine is your enemy. You will never be rich until you demand more than fine. Until your standards become sacred. Until you raise the price of your time, your focus, and your energy, and stop giving discounts to mediocrity.
Wealth begins in the mind.
But it is forged in clarity.
You must know what you want.
You must see it, in color, in detail, in definition. Success doesn't visit the vague. It is magnetized by the vivid. When Walt Disney stood in an empty orange grove in California and declared, "This is where the dream will live," people thought he was insane. Because visionaries always look like lunatics, until the world catches up. Do you have a vision so clear that it terrifies you? Because if your dream doesn't scare you, it's not a dream. It's a coping mechanism. Stop calling tiny goals humble. Stop calling average realistic. It's not humility.
It's fear in disguise.
Your brain is the most powerful asset you own, but most people use it to replay trauma, rehearse failure, and relive mediocrity. Rich thinkers use it to build empires in the mind before they ever touch a brick. Clarity is your foundation. It is the first non-negotiable. Without it, you're just wandering in fog, mistaking movement for progress. So here's the question. Can you define what wealth looks like, for you? Not for society. Not for your parents. Not for the algorithm. But for you. Can you describe your ideal day in detail? The smells, the sounds, the colors, the emotions? Because if you can't describe it, don't expect to live it. The brain follows the pictures you feed it. And if all you feed it is confusion, you'll live in chaos. But if you feed it with vision, with clarity, with certainty, you awaken a power within that cannot be stopped by doubt, delay, or even disaster. This is not theory. This is mental warfare. You will never be rich until you stop thinking like the world taught you to think. Because the world is not designed to make you wealthy. It is designed to keep you obedient. And obedience doesn't build empires. Conviction does. There is a war inside you. And it's not between good and evil. It's between who you are and who you're meant to be. One wants comfort. The other demands greatness. And only one of them can win. You were not put here to survive the day. You were put here to command it. To wake up with fire in your chest and precision in your steps. But how can you lead your life when your mind is led by fear? Let's make one thing clear. Success is not about trying harder. It's about thinking higher. Most people are stuck on the treadmill of effort, running in place, exhausted, angry, and confused. Why? Because effort without elevation is slavery. And your mind, when it is not trained, will turn your ambition into anxiety. To think rich is to think above. To rise above circumstance. To rise above excuses. To rise above the identity the world handed you. Every empire begins in the mind. Every fortune. Every movement. Every revolution. First came the thought. Then came the faith. Then came the action. But average minds want to see results before they believe. Rich minds believe, and the results are forced to obey. This is where clarity must be followed by belief. Unshakable. Unbreakable. Unapologetic belief. Not the kind you post on your vision board and ignore by noon. Not the kind you chant once and forget when fear shows up. I'm talking about belief that breathes in your lungs. Belief that's louder than your doubt. Belief that doesn't wait for permission. Abraham Lincoln had no reason to believe. Born into poverty. No access.
No pedigree.
But belief is not built on circumstances. It is forged in defiance. He read books by candlelight. He trained his tongue with relentless debate. He decided that the world would not define him. And history bent in his direction. That kind of belief doesn't beg. It declares. So let me ask you, what are you declaring today? With your thoughts. With your actions. With your posture, your tone, your choices. Because every moment, you are broadcasting to the universe exactly what you believe you deserve. And the world doesn't give you what you wish for. It gives you what you're willing to accept. Want to be rich? Then stop entertaining thoughts that contradict abundance. Stop tolerating people who speak in limitation. Stop spending time, energy, and focus like you've got infinite supply. Wealth isn't just about creation, it's about conservation. Rich thinkers guard their minds like royalty. They don't gossip. They don't scroll aimlessly. They don't speak death into their dreams with phrases like, if it doesn't work, or I'll try. No. They move with language that commands. I will. It's done. I create. Because the subconscious doesn't follow weak commands. It responds to certainty. You will never be rich until you stop negotiating with your destiny. Until you stop asking for permission to be powerful. Until you walk into every room like your future depends on it, because it does. Now let's talk about the currency most people waste. Attention. You think money is your greatest asset? No. It's focus. The richest people in history were not just good at making money, they were masters of direction. They aimed their thoughts like arrows. They concentrated energy like lasers. Edison would spend days locked in thought.
No distractions. No excuses.
Just him, and the idea he refused to let die. That is how light was brought to darkness. Not with luck. but with relentless focus. You must train your mind to eliminate. Cut the noise. Cut the nonsense. Cut the drama. Cut the deadweight masquerading as friends. You're not here to fit in, you're here to rise above. You are not required to shrink to make others comfortable. You are not obligated to explain your fire to those still living in smoke. You want wealth? Then start acting like your attention is sacred. Because where your attention goes, your future grows. You cannot think rich in a poor environment. You cannot rise while surrounded by anchors. You cannot evolve while clinging to expired identities. Burn the old scripts. Burn the old stories. Burn the old self. Every moment you stay the same is a moment you betray your future. Discipline is not punishment. It is proof that you take your vision seriously. And without discipline, desire becomes delusion. You can write down your goals 100 times. You can visualize success every morning. But if your feet do not move in rhythm with your mind, it means nothing. So move. Move with precision. Move with purpose. Move like you're running out of time, because you are. There will come a day when your name is spoken for the last time. And between this moment and that moment, there's only one question that matters. Did you think like the rich, or live like the afraid?
You will never be rich until you start honoring your time like it's gold.
Because it is. Time is the most brutal currency, you can never earn it back. And the poor mindset? It treats time like it's nothing.
Scroll a little. Watch another show.
Kill the day.
Waste the weekend.
Tomorrow, it says, as if tomorrow is guaranteed. But the rich mindset? It sees every hour as a seed. Every minute as a weapon. Every moment as an investment in destiny.
So let me ask you, how many days have you traded for nothing?
How many sunrises have come and gone, while you hit snooze on your greatness? This is what separates the exceptional from the average. Not talent. Not luck. But urgency. The rich don't wait to feel ready. They move before the doubt finishes its sentence. They act while the world is still dreaming. They understand, hesitation is the enemy of wealth. There is no perfect time. No magical alignment.
Only this moment.
Right now. And if you don't seize it, someone else will.
You want a rich life?
Then move like it's slipping away. Because it is. Don't confuse patience with passivity. Yes, timing matters, but preparation creates timing. You don't wait for opportunities. You become the person that opportunities are magnetized to. That takes grit. That takes discipline. That takes becoming the version of yourself that's been locked behind your excuses. Look at the ones who built legacies. Jobs. Musk. Bezos. Oprah. Jordan. They weren't chasing weekends. They were chasing immortality. Not through fame, but through impact. Because rich thinking is not just about stacking cash, it's about building something that echoes. You must stop measuring your life in paychecks. Start measuring it in purpose. What are you building that will still speak after you're gone? What will your name stand for when you're not here to defend it? Poor thinking dies with the body. Rich thinking creates monuments in the minds of others. But it starts with intention. You want wealth? Then define your why with surgical clarity. Because when your why is weak, your discipline dies quickly. But when your why is forged in fire, nothing can stop you. You have to go deeper than surface goals. It's not just about the car, or the house, or the zeros in your account. Those are byproducts of something much deeper. Your obsession with becoming the version of yourself that no one believed you could be. And here's the truth you've been avoiding.
The old you must die for the new one to live.
You will never be rich while dragging around the corpse of who you used to be. That version of you, the one that quits when it gets hard, the one that hesitates, overthinks, doubts, settles, that version is done. You don't evolve by addition. You evolve by subtraction. Subtract the fear. Subtract the laziness. Subtract the fake humility. Subtract the story that you're not ready, not qualified, not born into it. Who told you that you needed permission to be powerful? That you needed credentials to lead? That you needed to come from money to make money?
Let me remind you of something.
Some of the wealthiest minds in history came from nothing. But they decided that they would become something. They didn't ask the world to open the door. They kicked it in. And the moment you decide, truly, deeply, unshakably decide, that you're done living like the world expects, that's the moment everything changes. Because the world bends for the bold. It yields to the relentless. It moves for the mind that refuses to stay silent.
Ceux qu'ils se confort.
Kill the old language. Kill the waiting. And resurrect the savage inside you. The one that remembers who you are before the world taught you to be small. The one that knew deep in your bones, you were meant to build, not beg. To create, not comply. To own, not obey.
You were not born to chase money. You were born to command it.
But only after you've proven you can command yourself. Because money is a mirror. It reflects who you are, not just what you do. And if you are scattered, undisciplined, confused, entitled, wealth will flee from you. But if you are precise, powerful, focused, and unstoppable, wealth will flow to you like a river seeking gravity. This is not magic. It's alignment. Thoughts. Beliefs. Actions.
All moving in one direction.
No doubt.
No drift. No delay.
This is how you earn wealth on every level. Financially. Mentally. Spiritually. Generationally. You are not just here to make money. You are here to make impact. To make history. To make a statement that your bloodline has changed. Forever. So rise. With intensity. With fire. With purpose that doesn't flicker in the wind. Because your destiny is not waiting. It is watching. And it only moves when you do. Let me speak directly to the voice inside you that's still holding back. The voice that whispers, "What if I fail? What if they laugh? What if I'm not enough?" Silence it. Because the real question is, what if you never try? What if you die with your brilliance buried inside you? What if the world never hears your voice? Because you chose safety over significance.
Déteste the real nightmare.
Not the fall, but the regret. You see, pain is temporary. Discomfort is fleeting. But regret? Regret is a ghost that haunts your legacy. And the only way to exorcise it is with courage. Not the absence of fear, but the choice to move through it. To stare down the dragon of doubt and step anyway. Every rich thinker has scars. They've bled. They've fallen. They've been laughed at, mocked, misunderstood. But they kept going. Because the vision was louder than the voices. Thomas Edison failed over 1,000 times. The world called him a fool. He called it progress. And because he refused to fold, we now live in the light. Disney was fired for lacking imagination. Oprah was told she wasn't fit for television. Elon Musk was mocked for trying to launch rockets. And yet, they each rewrote reality, with a pen carved from persistence. That's what rich thinking does. It bends the laws of the possible.
So what about you?
Will you keep living by someone else's script? Will you keep outsourcing your potential to opinions and approval? Or will you finally rise and think like the rich? Because rich thinking isn't about what you have. It's about who you become. It's not the car. It's the character.
Not the house.
But the habits that built it. Not the followers. But the fire that made them follow.
You want freedom?
Then earn it with your discipline. You want influence? Then forge it with your integrity. You want abundance? Then walk through the fire with your standards set to sacred.
You will never be rich until your identity change.
Until the person you see in the mirror stops negotiating with mediocrity. Until the way you speak to yourself is sharper than the way you defend your limits. This is not just a motivational speech. This is a declaration of war against the part of you that's been sleeping. Wake it up. Shake it out. Shatter it if you must, but never let it rule you again. Because the world isn't waiting. The world is watching. And everything you've prayed for is standing behind one final threshold.
The death of the whole you.
So bury him. Bury her. Right here. Right now.
No eulogi. No tears.
No ceremony.
Just silence, and then rebirth.
You rise today as the architect of your destiny.
The commandé of your fate.
The thinker who no longer plays small. And what comes next? Everything. Because once your mind is rich, the world has no choice but to follow. So think boldly. Speak with fire. Move with precision. And live like your legacy depends on it. Because it does.